Hi everyone, today we're going to go through adding and subtracting fractions. Let's have a look at our first problem. 2/3 and a 6. We're going to use the fraction wall. If that doesn't sound familiar or if you've forgotten the last lesson, please click on the link on the top right hand corner, the little I, and it will take you back to the lesson we did previously. Now let's have a look at the fraction wall to see how we can add these two fractions together. We're going to look for 2/3. Now the thirds are here, so there's 1, 2. So that amount that I've colored is equivalent to 2/3. Now we're going to look for 6. I'm going to do the 6 in a different color so it stands out. So let's look at 6. The 6 are over here in that row over there. Since we've already colored 2/3, I'm going to color 2/3 here as well. So that is equivalent to 2/3. Now, if we're adding one more 6 to it, we need to add that one there. So now how many have we colored all together in that one row? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our answer is 5, 6. So you can use the fraction wall and keep going and adding until you see what the total is. Let's look at another question. 2/5 and a third. This time 2/5 is not very helpful for us because when you look at the 2/5, it doesn't line up with the third very well. So we can't use the fraction wall. How else can we add the fractions? Let's have a look at them separately. This is what 2/5 look like and this is what a third looks like. Now, they're not the same size pieces, so we can't just add them together. It will be very unfair to add that big piece of a third to the fifth. It wouldn't be the same. So the first thing we have to do is make sure they're the same size. When we overlap them, we notice that they become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The denominator, or the size of the pieces, is 15. So that's going to help us answer the question. Let's cut each of our fractions into pieces of 15. Now, when the pieces are the same size, we can start adding them together. So I have 6 over here and I have 5 over there. So I can add this one to this one. So 5 more. So now we have that many colored. And now we can count them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of 15. So let's recap. Our 2/5 has turned into 6 over 15 and our 1/3 has turned into 5 over 15. And then we added the two together to get 11 over 15. Let's have a think about this. Recall from the last lesson that 2/5 over 5 is an equivalent fraction to 6 over 15 and that 1/3 is an equivalent fraction to 5 over 15. So how do we do this without the diagram so we can use this method all the time? The way we do it is we look for the lowest common denominator. So between 5 and 3, we look at their multiples and we look for the first number that is the same. So 5, 10, 15, etc. Those are the multiples of 5. And then for 3, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And we notice that the first common multiple is 15. So we would rewrite the question with 15 as our denominator. Now, whatever you do to the bottom, so 5 times what is 15? That's 3. We do to the top. So 2 times 3 is 6. Let's have a look at the other fraction. 3 times what became 15? 3 times 5 became 15. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 1 times 5 is now 5. And surely 6 plus 5 is 11, and we get to our answer. So to recap, that's step number 1. Look for the lowest common denominator. Lowest common denominator by writing out the multiples and finding out what's the lowest common denominator. And then write down the denominators and convert the numerators so they're equivalent fractions, and then add the numerators together. Let's try one more question. This time, let's try subtraction. So here we have 2/3 and 1/4. So if we wrote down 3 and 4, all the multiples of 3's until we hit a number that is also a multiple of 4. So 4, 8, 12. So 12 is our lowest common denominator. We can see that our pieces are going to be the same. So see, there's like, instead of 2/3, now I have 6/12, and instead of 1/4, now I have 3/12. So we're going to use our 12 as our common denominator, and we're going to convert the 2/3 into something over 12. 3 times what is 12? 3 times 4 is 12. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So now 2 times 4 is 8. Now 4 times what is 12? 4 times 3 is 12. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So we put a 3 there, because 1 times 3 is 3. Now 8 take away 3 is now 5/12. So if we start off with 8 pieces and we want to subtract these 3, 1, 2, 3, surely enough we end up with 5 pieces, just like we expected. Calculate the following, giving your answers in simplest form. Use estimating to judge whether your answers are reasonable. So estimating, we're going to estimate what our answers are first before we get to the actual answer, so that we can check that we're on the right track. So 4/5 is almost 1. And 9/20, that's close to 10/20, which is about half. So when you add these two together, almost 1 and about half, we're going to get around 1.5. So our answer should be between 1 and 2. So let's have a look. So 4/5 and 9/20. Remember, we have to look for step 1 is lowest common denominator between 5 and 20. So now we have 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, 20 is our lowest common denominator. So we're going to write 20 as our common denominator. Remember, the number that makes the pieces the same size. And now this is an easy one. I'm going to do the right fraction first, 9. Now let's look at the left fraction. 5 times what is 20? 5 times 4 is 20. What you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So 4 times 4 is 16. Now we add the numerators together, the top numbers. 16 plus 9 is 25 over, keep the denominator the same, 20, because that's just the size of your pieces. You can't add the sizes together. And now we simplify. 25/20. What number goes in both of them? I can think of 5 that goes in both of them. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Now, this is an improper fraction. Let's convert it to a mixed number. How many 4's fit into 5? 1. Remainder, 4 times 1 is 4. 5 take away 4 is 1. Remainder 1. So it's 1.25. And is our estimate similar, or does that fall in our estimate? Yes, it does. So we are good. So let's have a look at the subtraction question. Well, we know that 4/5, as we said, is almost 1. And 9/20 is about half. Now, if we have almost 1 take away half, we have roughly around half, or less than 1. So we expect our answer to be less than 1. That is our estimate. So let's go and do this. So step number 1, make sure the denominators are the same, or let's find 1. So lowest common denominator between 5 and 20. So I'm going to repeat the process so that you familiarize yourself with the step. So I'm going to write the multiples of 5, then I'm going to write the multiples of 20, and I'm going to look for the common one. The first one that appeared. That's why it's called lowest, the first one. Then I'm going to copy down the question, writing the denominator as the one we just found. Copy down any number that already matches. And for the number that is not matching, we have to work it out. So we say 5 times what is 20? That's 5 times 4. So whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. 4 times 4 is 16. So now we have 16 minus 9, which is 7. And the denominator doesn't change because that's the size of the pieces. And our answer is 7 over 20, which is less than 1. That's exactly what we wanted, so we're good. Ooh, this time we have mixed numbers. What are we going to do? Well, there's two choices actually. The first choice, which is my favorite choice, is doing the whole numbers together and doing the fractions together. So you take the 5 and the 4 and you add them together, and then you add the fraction together by themselves. So the 5 plus 4 is easy, that's 9. With the fraction, we have to do what we did before. So we look for the lowest common denominator between 3 and 9, which is 3, 6, 9, 9. So 9 is the lowest common denominator. We're going to convert it to something over 9. So that one is already in ninths. Now, the other one, 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 1 times 3 is 3. So now our answer is 9 from the whole numbers, and 3 plus 2 is 5 over 9. Let's look at a different way to do this and see if we get the same answer. Using improper fraction. How do we convert this into improper fractions? Well, recall from the last lesson that we have to multiply 3 by 5, which is 15, then add 1, which is 16. So we have 16 over 3 plus, then we have to convert the second one. 9 times 4 is 36, and then 36 plus 2 is 38. Now again, we have to make sure that the denominators are the same before we add them. So we look for the common denominators between 3 and 9, and we realize that it's 9. So we write the question or the fractions again with 9s. Write down what it's already there, and then convert the one that is not converted yet, which is the other one. 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9. So 16, we have to multiply by 3. 16, 32, 48. And now we can add them together. 48 plus 38 over 9. 48 plus 38, well, 40 plus 30 is 70, 18, 80, 16, so 86. Now we can simplify that into mixed numbers. 9 times what is closest to 86? 9 times 9 is 81. 86 minus 81, I'm just writing it there so you can see what I'm doing, is equal to 5. And that's our remainder, so we put it over the fraction. So 9 and 5 over 9, which is the same answer. So you'll be asked to do both methods, but make sure that you get used to the one, your favorite one, so you can do it super quick. Let's have a look at the same question. This time we're subtracting. Again, we can do the same thing. We can use whole numbers together and fractions together. So we can do 5 take away 4 and a third take away 2 over 9. And 5 over 4 is easy, it's 1. And a third take away 2 over 9, well, we have to find the lowest common denominator again. 3, 6, 9, and 9, which is 9. We write our fractions over the lowest common denominator, and we convert the one that is not converted. So a third, so 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9. What you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So now we have 3 there. So our answer will be 1. 3 minus 2 is 1 over 9. Let's do the other method, which was using improper fractions. So 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 2 is 38. And remember, we have to make sure the denominator is the same. Lowest common denominator is 9. I've done it a few times now. So, well, we're going to write everything over 9. And 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9, so we have to do the same to the top. 16 times 3 is 48. Now this question is asking for us to subtract. So 48 minus 38 is 10. And we convert that back into mixed numbers. 9, how many 9 fits in 10? 1 9 fits in 10, remainder 1. And the answer is surely the same as we have expected. So in summary, to add or subtract fractions, make sure you have the same denominator. So step 1, find the lowest common denominator. To add or subtract mixed numbers, calculate the whole numbers and the fractions separately, or you can use improper fractions. Okay, bye guys.